Hey, this is Lush McAndrew, and today I thought we would go through all the names of the skate tricks because I can't find any of those videos on YouTube that goes through like most of them. So yeah, let's do that, and I'm gonna try to demonstrate the tricks as well as I can, but some tricks I may have to do with my hands because some tricks are really hard. I will try to do them one-footed at least. But okay, let's start with the parts on the skateboard. So you have the nose, you have the tail, grip tape, trucks and wheels. That would be the main parts at least. Okay, so stances. A regular stance would be when you stand with your right foot on the tail, while goofy stance would be when you stand with your left foot on the tail. Then there's also Mongo, which maybe should be renamed to Down syndrome to be politically correct. Now, the ollie. The ollie is when you jump with your skateboard. And you can do them in different stances. So if you do it, I'm a goofy skater, so when I do it standing with my left foot on the tail, I am doing it in a regular ollie. If I were to do it with my right foot on the tail, that would be called switch. If I step forward and do a regular ollie from the nose, it's called a fakie, while if you do a switch ollie from the nose, it's called a nollie. Now, a body varial or a sex change is when you change your stance on the skateboard. You can do this while doing tricks. For example, this is a hippie jump sex change. Doing a trick backside or front side. Now, if you turn your body in a way that you go in back first, it's a backside. This is, for example, a backside 180. And this is a backside shout. And this is a front side 180. And this is a front side shout. If you spin the board the full way around, it's called a 360 shout, or if you follow with your body, it's called a 360 ollie. This is, for example, a backside 360 shout, and this is a 360 backside nollie shout. If you add a 180 body rotation to a 360 shout, it's called a big spin. This is, for example, a fakie big spin. If you also add a flip to that, it's a big flip. Now, if you put your front foot down before doing the tricks, it's called no comply. This is, for example, a no comply shout. Some tricks are only done no comply, such as the strawberry milkshake. Now, if you ollie and spin the board in the X angle, it's called a kickflip. And if you do spin the board the other way, it's called a heel flip. If you add an extra rotation on that, it's called a double kickflip. And if you add another, it's called a triple kickflip, and so on. Now, if you add a backside shout and a kickflip together, it's called a varial kickflip. Now, if you do a double rotation on that, it's called a nightmare flip. And if you do an extra rotation in the Y angle, it's called a 360 flip, or a 360 kickflip. And if you add a kickflip and a front side shout together, it's called a hard flip. Now, if you add a front side shout and a heel flip together, that's called a varial heel flip. And if you do a 360 motion on that in Y angle, it's called a laser flip. Now if you add a backside show it and a heel flip together, that's called an inward heel flip. If you do a flip without using your front foot, that's called a pressure flip. Now if you add a kickflip together with a backside 180, that's called a backside kickflip. And if you add a kickflip together with a frontside 180, that's called a frontside kickflip. You could of course also do that with heel flips. Now if you do a backside 180 from a Fakie stance, that's called a half cab flip. And if you do that without the flip, it's just called a half cab. Now if you flip the board in a really weird diving motion, like you flip it like this and it sort of flips over like that, it's called a dolphin flip. And if you do that with a 360 motion, it's called a Dragonflip. This is a hospital flip. And if you add your back foot into that to help, it's called a Casper Flip. This is a Casper stall. Now, if you spin the board around your foot in the C angle, it's called an impossible. And if you do it around your front foot, it's called a front foot impossible. If you do a front foot impossible, but it spins in the opposite direction around the middle of the skateboard, it's called an unpossible. And if it flips in the C angle of full rotation without the foot touching the skateboard, it's called a monster flip or a zero flip. Now if you add a flip into the impossible, it's called an ollie imposter. Now on to grabs. So there are nose grabs, there are tail grabs, there are mute grabs, there are indie grabs, and variation on those, which would include melon, method, bacon or cannon grabs. Now, a grind is when you use the trucks to slide on something. And depending on how you do that, they are called different things. So we have the 50-50 grind, the Smith grind, the feeble grind, the 5-0 grind, the K grind, the nose grind. A slide is when you slide on your board on something. So we, for example, have board slides, nose slides, tail slides, lip slides, blunt slides. Fuck, I forgot to film blunt slides. So, okay, a blunt slide, we use my table here, is when you jump up and you slide like that, which is really fucking hard. Okay, back to the video. Now, if you flip the board over and slide on the wrong side, it's called a dark slide. Or if you do it on just the tip of the board, a Casper Slide. And the hardest of all, a Primo Slide. A manual is when you ride on just your back wheels. And a nose manual is when you ride on just your front wheels. If you do a trick out of it, it's called, for example, show it out. This would be a nose manual show it out. And yeah, that's pretty much it for at least the basics. There are of course many variations. For example, if you do a hard flip, now let's see here. That would be something like that. And you add a late revert from a nollie position. It's called a ghetto bird. But you know, there are like a million tricks and we can't go through them all. So those were the main tricks. So that was all for today. So rock and fucking roll.